not present a prophetic message because we want at the end people to come and say, oh, you are my favorite pastor, you speak so well, I am so delighted. I don't think that they had the same word when Jesus finished the sermon of Matthew 23, or when John the Baptist spoke. But of course, we have to speak with love like Jesus did, but without suppressing the truth. And this is, I think, part of our mission today. Well, the topic has been announced, the strength of the Adventist message. And I would like to share with you this morning some of my personal experience and my journey within the Adventist message. I am excited about this, and sometimes I thought if I would ever leave our church, I would have no other church to go. Because, like Peter answered, you remember, are you willing to leave me as well? Where can we go? But I hope that it never ever happens to me, or not even to you. Well, this is a very broad topic that could be addressed from different angles, but I will go more through my own journey a little bit so that you can maybe relate to some of these thoughts. After finishing my studies at Andrews, I went back to Brazil, and one day the man that is on the one on the lower slide, his name is Valdir Bartarin, a friend, and he approached me saying, well, you should go with me to such and such place, town, and give Bible studies to a man, and that's the one on the top, that is an evangelical, he's a lay leader, had some kind of theological studies for lay people in his church. I don't know if you heard about the Square Gospel Church. Yeah, that he was from that church. And he has an Adventist sister who is legalist. And for 5 years I have tried to study with this man, and he did not accept. Because he had a notion that Adventists are legalists. And so I think that you are the one that can help me out on this situation. And I was wondering, what should I do and how to begin? Because if I speak about justification by faith and salvation, you will say, well, this is something that I already know and I don't need to listen to or to study this matter. If I go to the distinctive beliefs, he can easily say, well, he is just confirming the legalistic trend of Adventism. So I was thinking, what should I do? He knew already the Bible to a certain extent, so I decided to start with 3 main concepts that I think that are foundational for us to understand the salvation process. I will not go into details because you know the passages and so on, and you could add even more. But first of all, I mentioned that in the New Testament we are saved by grace. And he liked it. And he was surprised. How does it come? I always thought that Adventists were legalists, and now the man comes speaking here about salvation by grace. We are justified by faith, and we are judged by works. Okay? And he was pleased with this. And then I went a step further and told him, this is the way of salvation in the New Testament and exactly the same in the Old Testament. And to make the story short, he was surprised and said, how does it come? I always thought that Adventists were legalists, but you are more evangelical than the evangelicals. Because we always think about salvation by grace through faith in the New Testament, but not in the Old Testament. And now you tell me this, that no human body could ever be saved without the grace of God. And then you have the passages of the Old Testament but I started with the New Testament, and then I moved to the Old Testament. And then, the following study, I went and showed how in the Bible, the whole plan of salvation is always, or was always developed or offered through the sanctuary motif. Of course, use a simple language with people. You can adjust, you can have a more sophisticated language or a more simple one. And so you speak the language of the people. And so I showed how salvation was offered to the patriarchal altars, and then the Mosaic tabernacle, the temple of Jerusalem, and finally the cross and the heavenly sanctuary. And that was the starting point, and I offered all the studies within the framework of the sanctuary and the great controversy of the sanctuary. The man not only accepted with his wife the Adventist message and remained faithful, but I had to repeat a series of studies, Bible studies, 3 times in his home, because more people started to join it from that church. And several really accepted the message. This is just to speak a little bit how attractive our message has, a potentiality that I believe that we have not explored enough.